gardening, green belt, and also we use it for our fire water network. That is one of the important activity which requires in a refinery like ours. So we are using it for that purpose. Then comes to the next level where probably some biological treatment, maybe some UF treatment, which is suitable for the purpose of cooling water treatment. So that comes part of the system. And then you get into the real full force RO membrane where you treat them and almost polish it and use it as a boiler feed water. In fact, it's much better, much good drinking water except for the psychological factor. So today at CPCL, the requirement being about 8 mgd, we are just for the drinking water purpose, to the extent of about 0.5 to 1 mgd is being taken from the metro water, and the rest of it is almost recycled on, got it back from our own effluents, plus the tertiary treatment. And adding one step ahead, we are the first industry to go in for a desalination plant and then put up another 5 mgd plant, which is going to augment our future expansion projects as well. I thought this is one thought I would share. If you can really look at what our industries can also participate and then see the load out of this system and save the water bodies, probably this is one thing. And I just want to mention a few tips with respect to the city sewage as well. When we talk about today's Chennai system, we talk almost like any other city, probably it's only around 40% being treated and things like that. But there is a serious move by legally, we'll just block wherever it is coming out straight. But do you think is it feasible? Because if you look at the points where this is coming out, in the entire 2 rivers and this Buckingham Canal, it runs close to about 600, 700 outlets. Is it physically possible to do it like this by just blocking it up? And if you really do so, and there is a monsoon session, it's all getting mixed up again. So unless we have the awareness and with respect to the cities, the segregation, a good water, I mean fairly decent water and the closet water, we are really going to be hit a very hard end. So I would suggest these are some of the points probably we should look at it in the sewage reclamation where the civic bodies and some of the other agencies who are keen to look at it to take it forward. Thank you so much.
Mr. Venkatraman came up with a couple of things. I mean, necessity started off for them to look into what they have to do with the water source and how they are going to manage in future. And they started off with basically recycling the waste. And as the demand increases, they went into the reuse. And he also highlighted how they were able in their complex to be able to define streams of water, segregate them out, and use the optimum level of technology required to be able to provide the treatment. So with that, I'll recommend Dr. Suresh Rohila.
That be introducing one of the recommendations that zero liquid discharge should be there. But I basically would like to tell you from the angle which I come on this subject. When I see the title and when I see my basic training from where I look at bringing zero liquid discharge, I see it from the entire water point of view. And I have had an opportunity to work on storm water management issues. I directly connected to zero runoff something, which was back in 1970s, 80s also talked about whether we could ever get zero runoff in urban areas. Whether we would have, in the case of, wastewater, the similar experience, that would be my first concern. Just to share, I was given a couple of questions, so I have not prepared my, speech in a more, detailed way, but I have prepared some answers to that. And I would take one by one those and just give you my position from where I come from. I represent Center for Science and Environment, a leading policy advocacy institution in the country. I'm the program director on the water program over there. And I also head a Center for Excellence, which Ministry of Urban Development has asked me to, do some research and capacity building in the reform sector in the water management. And I should thank Mr. Deen Dayalan to make my task easy by putting the statistics forward. And, we work very closely. And I work also closely with Professor Tare on this subject, trying to understand what is coming up. So my role is trying to see that, what is the next step forward. What I understood, first I will take that, then I'll say what I didn't understand in this entire concept. As a concept, as an idea, it's an assembly of role and responsibilities which this team is trying to put together, or the number of people who run India, not the Bharat which Mr. Deen Dayalan said, which is the actually hard reality, that the way the new role and responsibilities will be organized, in particular in an area that also part of the problem, which is water is the overall problem, only the wastewater. That's what I see is something this team is trying to do. And they are trying to have, from individual and local level to collective kind of a framework which they are trying to propose. That is one, that's what I understand. Second thing is, what I understand is they're trying to adapt something which is close to nature, and kind of a thing that people will assemble along with each other, because market will try to bring them together. There would be water and there would be economics in that, so people will come together. But actually, what happens is, I was reading a very interesting article today morning, and where they defined this process. It's something, I've taken it from somewhere. It's called Issues in Technology, Theory, Research and Application. There they said mostly, construction of artificial multi-component structured systems with external entities that direct the assembly process. Usually they are followed by a script, a blueprint under a centralized regime, which is the current model as well as the new model which will be proposed largely. Then what happens is the individual players which are being thought about in this, which would be industries or individuals, they would be also having dual responsibilities. One is that they represent certain institutions, and then there's a market. So they have their own role and responsibilities towards those institutions. So I fail to understand, because the detailing of this particular framework has not been done to that extent. What are the processes which each and every individual would, and what role it will have to play. So I fail to understand in this entire thing, that's why I say. And what in opposite I see is that, and as a part of exercise of research and dealing with municipal functionaries, the most latest research and state-of-the-art knowledge which is coming up in this area has actually been missed out in this concept, in a way that recent research focuses on alternative paradigms, whereby we are trying to say that water and wastewater should not be looked in isolation, as well as the storm water also should not be looked in isolation. We have to see these things in together. Other thing is, we have to also see that how these things self-assemble in its own way. I don't know, because this script or this process is still not complete to me, where it brings together these role responsibilities in terms of groundwater, surface water, and all those interactions. It restricts itself to surface water, but indirectly somehow it says yes, groundwater recharge would be there, but I don't see many people from groundwater board here. I see largely an engineer-dominated paradigm still, because the major problem with the previous paradigm was that it was an engineering-dominated paradigm and institutions were managing water supply. And the major reason in the past was that they failed to address the issue of socio-economy and the technology disconnect. And I actually see that it would still remain the issue in this new paradigm. Where is the community? Where is the new knowledge being integrated? Something, for example, I would like to say, I've recently returned from US after spending 4 months over there. Where is the issue of water efficiency and conservation? How would markets react to this if people start using less water and the total sewage which is being anticipated that this wastewater will be generated, if that is reduced? I should tell you, in US, the utilities don't want to have water efficiency and conservation. So is it integrated with the new concepts, new knowledge which has emerged in this area? The entire world over, the new knowledge is that we are moving towards decentralized and localized water resources management. Water resources, which doesn't separate wastewater and water. In the past it has been done, even in our academic institutions it is like that. We work in a very linear fashion. Who would basically implement these kind of concepts which we are trying to say, that zero, liquid discharge, in particular wastewater treatment? Who will train? How will they integrate this thing? Will they be able to link up land and water management, which is one of the major areas? In a town or a city, Professor Tare in the morning session, he did indicate briefly, 2% of the land area should be earmarked for some water bodies. Where are the town planners? Where are the development authorities? We are talking about urban local bodies, but actually the action scene is development authorities, who do not listen to any of things. They want multi-crore big projects with scams. And every project is constructor oriented, that's all. So these all new ideas don't attract them. I would stop at this end, trying to say that, no doubt, it's a good, concept, but beyond the concept, I don't see anything at the moment in this. When the processes are detailed out, when the entire script is ready with all the nitty-gritties, who will play what role, I think then I would be able to comment beyond this. So I fail to understand many things, but I understand that they are trying to mimic the nature and the systems approach, which could be a solution to a major issue with the country is facing today. Thank you very much for giving me a chance.
Thank you. I think therein lies, the complexity of the situation in terms of having a lot of different stakeholders who are involved in making that. And I think a very important point that was discussed about that, just like developing countries, many developing countries, sort of skip technology and go to the next generation technology straight away. And I think the opportunity that we have right now is to be able to look at that, to be able to see that, do we necessarily have to follow the developed world, or, we can skip something and get on to a next level of technology which will be right and suitable for us. So with that, Mr. Jain, if you could address the audience, please.
Thanks, Sam. Bringing zero-level discharge concept for cities above 100,000 population appears to be soundingly good proposition, provided there is ample scope for recycling and reuse of the treated effluents in the vicinity of the treatment plants, or there is a canal system which is accepting the treated effluent. But for major cities like capitals of the states, or for mega cities like Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, and Bangalore, it may perhaps not be feasible to attain this concept in its entirety. What we can aim at is to utilize the treated effluents as best as it is feasible to do so in a techno-economical manner. For example, when I was working with the Delhi Jal Board, we found that the electricity authority used to draw water from the river at near Rajghat for meeting gardening requirements of the lieutenants New Delhi. We worked out that rather than using the untreated and treated effluents from the sewage treatment plants, we could utilize treated sewage effluent, treated to the secondary standards at that time, for meeting the horticulture requirements of Lieutenants Delhi, and in lieu thereof, establish a water treatment plant upstream of Wazirabad. Fortunately, the Minister of Urban Development at that time was very receptive to this suggestion, and she granted approval. With the result, a third 40 MGD plant for water treatment plant was constructed upstream of Wazirabad, and a 40 MGD treated effluent pumping station was created at Okhla, which supplies treated effluent right up to President State. Unfortunately, the treated effluents, as far as quality is concerned, are not maintained as promised, with the result that while I was working on the sub-city plan of New Delhi Municipal Corporation, I was told by the CPWD engineers that the water which is reaching President State is having a smell and odor. With the result, they are contemplating to establish a mini sewage treatment plant within the President State to make it fit for gardening at that area. Over the years, with the paucity of availability of raw water from the rivers or from the water bodies, there is growing need and appreciation of utilizing treated effluents to meet water requirements for industry and non-domestic purposes. Especially in Maharashtra, there is a lot of awakening. Nagpur Municipal Corporation, which is going whole hog for sewerage system in the city of Nagpur, has a committed agreement with the power generation company to take 120 MLD of treated sewage effluent for next 10 years. I went to